Parks and Recreation is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's certainly my favorite comedy. Parks and Recreation especially excels at having fantastic characters which very much help keep you interested, which is one of the reasons that it's one of my favorite comedies. In this video, I want to go over my personal rankings of all 7 seasons of Parks and Recreation. Just to get this out of the way, I'll be giving each of them a 1 out of 10 grade. Most of them will be decimals though, because what I did was, one time when I rewatched it, I gave each episode an IMDb grade, so 1 out of 10, and then I averaged them out for each season. So that is where I'm getting these numbers from. That doesn't mean that if I had to give the overall season a grade, that's what it would be. It just means I'm doing it based on the average for each episode, in my opinion. So I'm going to get right into it. So I'm going to start with the worst one, and then I guess I'll move up to my favorite. So my least favorite season of Parks and Rec is Season 1. Season 1 isn't bad. It certainly did get me interested in the show. It's just, it didn't necessarily do as much as you'd want from a first season of television. Like, it showed promise, but at the end of the day, there was nothing too special about it, and it was definitely hard for me to keep myself watching it to get to, like, the better seasons. Like, it's not bad, just, it could have been better, and, there's a reason they had to switch up so much in the later seasons from this first season. And there's a reason that a lot of the characters seem almost unrecognizable in later seasons. But, at the end of the day, it's similar to The Office almost, where, like, I don't like the first season, but it's good enough to keep you interested, and to show that the show has a ton of promise and it has a great writing team, so it is what it is, but it's not like, something that you can't rewatch. It's 6 episodes, you can get through it. So I actually have a tie for my next 2, so I'm going to start with the earlier one. So Season 2 would come in, I guess, tied for 5th, I guess I'll call it. So it's also not great. Like, they made a lot of changes, which I like, just they weren't totally there yet. Like, Leslie still wasn't as competent as I like her to be, which she eventually did reach. And, there's still just changes they had to make. Ben and Chris were not introduced towards the end, which kind of bugs me, because they're obviously 2 of the show's best characters. So it bugs me that we didn't get them until much later, because, their absence is definitely noticed. And obviously Mark Brandano, there's a reason they had to get rid of him. He just wasn't fitting in that show. So, it is what it is. Like, it's a similar thing to Season 1, where it did exactly what it had to do. It improved, it's better, a lot better. And, I'm obviously an 8.3 for a season of television. I sound a bit negative on it. That's just because some of these later seasons will have, like, well into the 9s. So, for Parks and Rec standards, it's not great. And then, so also tied for 5 would be Season 7. Season 7's a weird one for me because it starts off horribly. Easily a couple of my least favorite episodes of the show are there. Easily the premiere, and also the one with, like where they're trying to find historical reasons to keep the land or stuff like that. It's bad. It really is bad, but then it really fixes itself up. I mean, Ron and Leslie's a fantastic episode. The finale is great. Even really the last few episodes are really great, like the last 5. So when you only have like 13 episodes and like 7 of them are like 10s, that's why you get to Season 3, even though you have like 3s and 4s stuck in there. So I'm not sure if I actually would give it that high a grade if I was giving it my own 1 out of 10 grade, because of how bad it can be. But if you do the average, I guess that's where you get. So that's probably why it would be above Season 2 for me slightly, even though they do have the same average. So the next at number 4, I have Season 6. I don't really have much to say about Season 6. It's really great. The finale's great, and it has a 9 for me, so that means the next 3, so Seasons 3, 4, and 5, all have above a 9 for me. So, this is more just because of how great the other seasons are, but this season's really great. Obviously, it's not as good as the other ones, I guess, technically, but it's really good. The characters are great. They still know how to utilize them. And I love the Unity concert, and I love how they actually had Leslie be forced to, like, connect with Eagleton, which obviously was very interesting. So, yeah, I really love Season 6. I don't have much to say about it. It's really good. And so, yeah, I'm going to move on to number 3, I guess it is now. My number 3, I have Season 5. Season 5 is also really good. Like, I don't have much to say about these individually, because they all kind of blend together, because they're all just so great. Like, Season 5 is a 9.1 for me. Like, it's barely above Season 6, but that's not a bad thing, Season 5, I believe, has Leslie and Ben get married. I don't remember, but I think it does. But either way, it's really great, too. It's really funny. The show's really good. And they definitely kept that in Season 5. So now I'm going to go on to Season 3. Season 3 is number 2 for me. It has a 9.4. I know it's hard to believe that another one's going to get above that, but, wow. So, Season 3. This season definitely is what got me into this idea that this is one of my favorite shows. Season 3 is fantastic. I love what they did with Ron Swanson. I think the first episode of Season 3 is kind of what proves to me what Ron is, because he's one of my favorite characters in television history, and this episode completely understands why that is. It's the first one where we see the true Ron Swanson in my eyes. Like, I love the character in this episode, how he has his Ron Swanson pyramid of greatness. He has their only certain amount of haircuts that the boys can have. just stuff like that is just so great, and I love how they handled the character in this episode, and that really laid the groundwork for how they would handle him. This episode also started Andy and April's relationship, which is obviously really good. It made Andy far more likable than he already was. And, really just Chris and Ben, I love how they stayed on. And this episode was the season has a lot of great episodes. With the Harvest Festival, it proved to them that they could do a long-standing arc, which they hadn't really done too much of yet. So I like that, this one is really, I think, why we got that, because of how great this one was, and how great the Harvest Festival episode was. So, I think the season's really great. So now, my favorite season, Season 4. Season 4, I have a 9.5. I don't know how many seasons of television I would put above that. Off the top of my head, Daredevil Season 3, The Walking Dead Season 3, and that's kind of for me to think. This is probably my favorite season of comedic television. It's really great. I love this season. 9.5 is just crazy. There's 20 episodes, and over half of them are 10s. That is so impressive. I don't know how you can actually accomplish that. But they did. The season is fantastic. I don't have much to say about it. I don't know. I would be worried about talking for too long, because I'd be worried I wouldn't give it the praise it deserves, because it is so great. Season 4 Parks and Rec truly understands everything that television can be. I understand that sounds weird, but I don't know what else to talk about it. It's just that good. Season 4 is fantastic. And if you haven't seen Parks and Recreation and you went through this video for whatever reason, I highly recommend it. Make sure to check out Demerit Commissions in the Discord server below for great thumbnails, profile pictures, fun background, so much more. Make sure to check out DM Reviews Twitter in the Discord, which there should be a link for below. We do a lot of cool polls there. Just a few that we've done recently, like best superhero TV show, what your rankings were of the Marvel shows, which we do have a video out on. Make sure to check that out. And then not all of them are superheroes, though. We did some about The Walking Dead, some just random movie stuff. It's a lot of cool stuff there, so make sure to go follow that Twitter. And so make sure to comment below what your thoughts are on Parks and Recreation and what your individual rankings are for all 7 seasons.